All right, everybody. We are going to start to talk about the lungs at rest, as well as what happens inside the lungs to allow air to come in and exit the lungs. So, when your lungs are at rest, that's exactly that. Air's not coming in, air's not going out. We're just staying neutral. Before we talk about that, specifically what's going on inside the lungs, let's first talk about atmospheric pressure. So, the air on the inside and outside of the lungs, right, inside the thoracic cavity, outside the body, is about 760 millimeters of mercury, right? So we can measure what is the pressure. Why do we care about pressure? Because pressure and concentrations work very similarly in the body, in that if you are in an area of high pressure, you're going to move to an area of low pressure. Just like if you have an area of high concentration of something, it's going to move to an area of low concentration. So, in other words, if you change the pressure on the inside of the lungs, the thoracic cavity, or on the outside of the body, you can influence the body's ability to inhale or exhale. So, if you change the pressure or the pressure gradient, you can change the breathing. In this case, the inside and the outside have the same pressure. So, therefore, there's no need to move air. So, the breathing will not change. So, these are lungs at rest. One last thing to consider, based on everything we were talking about, area of high pressure and low pressure, keep in mind there's only one real route that the air can travel through, and that is through your trachea. Hence the reason breathing is what's occurring, right? So just keep that in mind. So if you want to send air in or out, it's going up or down the trachea, right? I know it's pretty obvious, but just keep that in mind as well, because when it comes to changing the atmospheric pressure inside the lungs, it's going to cause air to get forced in or out of that trachea. And that's why things like uh, involuntary contractions of the diaphragm, so like right here, the diaphragm, sometimes if it contracts when you don't want it to, and by the way, if the diaphragm contracts, that means it's moving downwards, that is going to suck air down the path, down the passageway, down your trachea. And this is hiccups, for example. So if you have hiccups, your diaphragm contracts, and that little contraction is going to just suck air down your mouth and down your trachea. Right. So again, it's all about partial pressures. So just keep that in mind. So in this first video, we're talking about lungs at rest. And in the next videos, we will be talking about inspiration as well as what needs to happen for expiration. If you have any questions so far, please just let me know.